Hello, hello. Welcome. We are truly excited and thrilled to have you with us for this orientation session related to the ArtStart grants. We're excited about the 2022 opportunity. And, this program for 20 years has been a signature program for Newark Arts, in which we provide many grants to ensure that there's access to the arts in every ward. We are thrilled to amplify the work that you do to express cultural voices, inspire youth to actualize their dreams, and to demonstrate the vibrancy of Newark's communities. And since the inception of the ArtStart grants, we have made more than 200 grants, totaling more than $500,000. So we are excited to hear about your ideas and look forward to a fruitful session today, and then seeing your proposals later on. And I'm Regina Barboza. I'm the Interim Executive Director for Newark Arts. Welcome.
Hello and welcome to the ArtStart 2022 info session. My name is Heather Ayers, and I'm the Director of Grant Administration at Newark Arts. I am your main point of contact for the ArtStart grant program. This is my third year heading ArtStart. It's been a pleasure meeting the grantees who work diligently to provide arts and cultural programs to Newarkers, and I look forward to meeting you and learning about the programs that you are introducing to the local communities here in Newark. The ArtStart grant application opened on Monday, January 23rd, and will remain open through Monday, April 25th. It'll close promptly at 11:59 p.m. It is imperative that you notice the application closing time and allow yourself ample time to successfully submit your application, as applications will not be accepted late. Once the portal closes, it is closed. You're all here because you have an interest in supporting and engaging communities in Newark through arts and cultural activities. So let us begin. Okay. All right. I hope everybody can see the PowerPoint. Okay, so please be aware that this session is being recorded and will be posted on our website for future viewing. Newark Arts just celebrated its 40th anniversary, and we are looking forward to celebrating the next 40 years. It was created to advance and expand the artistic and cultural resources in the city of Newark. Newark Arts' mission is to power the arts to transform the lives of those who live in, work in, and visit our great city. Newark Arts established the ArtStart grant program in 2001 to nurture arts and cultural activities throughout the city and to enhance the capacity of Newark's nonprofit organizations, schools, and individual artists to provide arts-based projects throughout the city's 5 wards. ArtStart's events must take place between July 1st, 2022 and June 30th, 2023. Selected ArtStart projects demonstrate cultural assets as a vital part of community life, education, well-being, and economic development. Programs should be designed to serve as a catalyst for cultural activities that is either not available, sporadic, or available only in limited supply within a community. Because of the COVID-19 pandemic, programs should be flexible to accommodate the governmental guidelines that are put in place for public protection. ArtStart grants provide support for local arts and cultural organizations, schools, and individual artists. Individuals and organizations may apply for projects in various disciplines, including the creative, visual, literary, performing, film, and public arts. However, individuals and organizations without a 501c3 status must apply with a tax-exempt organization serving as their fiscal agent. A memorandum of understanding is required as evidence of this relationship. Applicants may request a maximum of $3,000. No more than $3,000 will be awarded to any grant recipient. However, you may ask for less than that amount too. What will make your application stand out and be noticed? You want your project to stand out, so when you prepare your application, you want to be sure to highlight some main focal points that our panelists will consider. You'll want to show that you're collaborating with community-based organizations in a local neighborhood. You want to be sure to address civic and social needs that empower residents. Tell us how your program stimulates creativity and embraces community engagement. Tell us how your program engages diverse populations and is inclusive of children, youth, seniors, or people with special needs. Who is leading this program? Tell us about the small budget organizations or the individual artist who is heading this endeavor. Which neighborhoods are impacted by the program? Where does it take place? Your proposal should describe your artistic program as it benefits an underserved community or communities. Tell us how the program addresses a specific community issue or concern demonstrated by documented collaborations with at least one community organization, a description of how or why the specific project was selected, how does the project or how the project will benefit the targeted audience. Clearly state your ability to administer the program. Make sure you have realistic implementation strategies. How will you collect data to report your evaluation or assessment of a successful outcome? A well-written narrative that is clear and concise will benefit your application. Include an appropriate budget. Gather support material to submit with your application. These materials support your ability to effectively administer your program. The ArtStart applications were open Monday. The recordings from today's info session will be available at newarkarts.org/artstart. Viewing is mandatory for first-time applicants, but it's beneficial for everyone who's interested in applying for the grant. Application deadline is April 25th, 2022. And it's important to understand that the application must be received no later than 11:59 p.m. on Monday, April 25th. Late or incomplete proposals will not be reviewed. Early submissions are always welcome. The notification for the awards will be sent in June. The funding period covers July 1st, 2022 through June 30th, 2023. And the final report will be sent out in January of 2023, but they won't be due until June of 2023. Here are some items you want to provide as support materials when you submit your application. If you're applying for the grant as an individual or an organization that does not hold a 501c3, you will need a memorandum of understanding. A memorandum of understanding is a document that describes the broad outlines of an agreement between you, your organization, and the fiscal agent. You want to submit proof of commitment from the secured project location. You'll want to submit proof of commitment from professionals that you'll be working with. Include resumes of key project participants. You'll want to include samples of work. These can be photographs or documents that demonstrate your ability to successfully complete projects. And you'll want to also submit the organization's most recent annual budget. Organizations that wish to provide a community-based arts program within the city of Newark are eligible to apply. However, to request this grant, your organization must either be a federally tax-exempt Section 501c3 charitable organization with an annual budget of less than $1 million, or an accredited school or public agency. If you are an individual or an organization without a 501c3 status, you may still apply. Individual artist projects must partner with a nonprofit organization, school, or agency serving as their fiscal agent. An MOU is required as evidence of this relationship. Organizations without the 501c3 status with no IRS determination letter must partner with a tax-exempt organization that will serve as a fiscal agent. And again, the MOU is required as evidence of this relationship. Newark schools, public, private, and charter may apply for support of summer and in or out of school time creative arts projects. Organizations may submit one ArtStart 2022 grant application requesting no more than $3,000 for projects that occur between July 1st, 2022 and June 30th, 2023. Newark Arts staff will review applications for completeness only. A professional peer review panel will review proposals based on the evaluation criteria. Their considerations will be provided to the Newark Arts Board of Directors, which make final funding and award decisions. Important to note that schools or other applicants who are partnering with schools should take note of this timeline. The applications are due April 25th. Notifications will be sent out in June. But schools, their programs, you still have to follow our guidelines. So the program cannot begin before July 1st, 2022 and may continue throughout the 2022-2023 school year. That's September through June. So I'm going to stop sharing now, and we're going to let Cindy review the application process.
Hello, everyone. My name is Cindy Sanchez. I am the Senior Designer and Marketing Strategist for Newark Arts, and today I will be guiding you through the application interface. In order to apply, you may visit newarkarts.submittable.com/submit, and in here you are welcomed by this landing page. In here, if you scroll down, you are able to see the application, which is already open, ArtStart Grant 2022-2023. If we click on guidelines, we could see pertaining dates that Heather mentioned before, and a few notes for you to take into consideration as you complete your application. As we see there highlighted in pink at the bottom, the full ArtStart 2022 guidelines, which is the PowerPoint we were seeing before, can be downloaded. Submittable requires a login, so please make sure that you register with an email that you review constantly, as all further communications will happen through this platform. Let's click on submit, and let's see how the application looks. Here, as we scroll down, we see our initial guidelines one more time. And the first thing that we ask for is a detailed name for your project. It could change later on, but it should describe your project. Then, who is this application for? Please choose what describes you best, whether you are an organization, an individual artist, or an organization without a 501c3 status. Let's click on organization for now. And as you choose this, further details pop up. Please just give us your organization name, organization mailing address, the organization website, and the information of a contact person, which we can reach out if anything is needed. As we continue to scroll down, we get to the additional details. Here we want to know what ward of Newark your project will be impacting most. Do you have the ability to choose one or all the ones that make sense? Same with artistic discipline. You will have the ability to choose one or all that will be involved in your project. Right here at the bottom, we want to know the amount requested. As we heard before, we can require up to $3,000. We can request up to $3,000. At the bottom, we have a short summary statement of your project. As you see on the bottom right hand, we have a word limit, and the tally will be going down as you start writing down words. If we keep scrolling down, we start to see the upload portion of the application. In here, please upload your 501c3 letter of determination. The file types acceptable are a PDF or a Word document. At the bottom, we require your authorization. Please upload a document containing the below statement, and it must be signed by the Chief Administrative Officer of the organization applying or the organization that will be lent as the fiscal agent. As we keep scrolling down, we reach the narrative portion. And here we want to know a little bit more about your project. Here's a few guidelines. Please make sure you read detailed. As we keep scrolling down, we see the portion where we get to type in. Submittable does have the ability to save your progress and also save a draft, but we always recommend to copy what you're writing in these portions in a separate document in case anything could happen. Number one is the description. In here, we want to know, what is the project? What are the goals and objectives? How does it align with your mission? Where and when will it take place? In which ward? And how many programs and activities will take place? Number two is management. And here, please provide the name and qualifications of all partners, coordinators, artists, and other relevant personnel which would be part of your project. Number three is the need. Why is this project selected? Why is this project needed? How will your artists or other partners contribute to the success of the project? Number four is target population. Please specify the number of individuals you expect to directly serve. Describe the demographics and other characteristics in detail. How would you directly or indirectly benefit this population? And will the project be accessible to individuals with disabilities? Compliance with ADA is great. Number five is evaluation. In here, you can tell us, how will you measure and document your project success? You can include anecdotal evidence or submit photographs with your support material on a portion below. Number six is outreach. How will you advertise and promote the project? Number seven, it's timeline. What is the monthly schedule from grant approval through the conclusion of the project? Number eight is a budget. What is the total cost of the project? How will you spend the grant funds? And if additional funds are necessary to successfully undertake the project, where will you get these funds from? How are the expenses determined? And be sure this information matches the table that will be seen down below. And here we see project budget. Here we start once again with the project name and the name of the person sending in the application. As you fill out the specific numbers for table A or table B, the total will be tallied automatically on rows on the column C. If we keep scrolling down, and these two portions, please indicate the source of fund listed in column V, and they may be from organizational budgets or other grants or donations. And on the bottom part, please indicate any in-kind donations that you expect to receive. Those may be anything that is not monetary. At the bottom portion of the application, we reach the support materials. In here, you are able to upload up to 20 different files, which help us see a little bit, learn us a little bit more about your project. In here, you could upload the proof of commitment from professionals you plan to hire, proof of commitment from locations where your project would take place, resumes of project coordinators, artists, and other professionals involved with the project. Any other sample support material that attests to your ability to successfully complete the project are also welcome. Those could be photographic evidence, video, or audio if pertaining. And last, the organization's annual budget. At the bottom, please make sure you check in with I agree with the terms of use. And as I mentioned before, you have the ability to save your draft if you still want to review it at a later date, or hit submit. Once you hit submit, applications are final and will be unable to be edited. And now we'll go back to Heather to see the last portion of the presentation.
Yeah, thank you. I see that questions are coming. Am I on mute still? Yeah. Okay, I see that questions are coming in, and I just wanted to, make sure everybody is aware that we hopefully will address the questions through our talking, but also at the end, we will allow time to answer some questions that maybe we did not answer as through our presentation. So it's important to be clear about what is and what is not covered by the ArtStart grant. And here is a list of what the grant funds may be used for. Artist fees, coordinators, technical crew, and other professional fees. Space, rental, props, transportation costs, and other material fees integral to the project or related to making it accessible to people with disabilities, such as sign language interpreter or audio captioning. Operating expenses such as printing, photocopying, supplies, and materials. Promotional expenses related to the project. And if you have any expenses not listed that you are concerned that maybe they aren't covered, please notify us and we can discuss this with you. And here is a list of what the grant funds may not be used for. Programs in service of individuals outside of Newark. The grants are to benefit residents of the city of Newark. Treatment programs such as substance or alcohol abuse. However, a creative arts program, poetry, music, visual arts, etc., which serves that population is allowed. Athletic teams or events are not covered. Fundraisers or gala events. Advocacy or research groups. Capital or building construction projects. Endowment campaigns. Support of permanent staff doing their usual job, or scholarship funds are not covered. So Cindy shared the project budget form with you when she reviewed the application. It's important to understand that all applicants are required to complete the project budget form. And so here's a picture of what Cindy had already showed you, but if you see the space that's provided for the project name and the applicant name, please make sure you do complete that. It's important so that, when the reviewers are actually just looking at the budget, they'll be able to associate it with you. The form contains an untitled column for a list of expenses. Column A equals the expenses covered by the requested grant funds. Column B equals the additional necessary project expenses that will not be covered by the ArtStart grant. And then column C represents the totals of column A and B. Be sure to check that all your figures add up correctly and correspond to the figures you provided in your narrative question number 8 from the application form. It's not necessary to have a figure on each line of this form. Complete only what's applicable to your project. Requested grant funds may be allocated to one or more categories on the form. And I'm sure you have some questions. I'll begin with some frequently asked questions, and then if you have any other questions, we'll provide you the opportunity to put them in the chat or raise your hand and we'll call on you. So the first question is, what is the success rate for ArtStart applicants? As funds are limited, grants are very competitive, and historically, approximately 1 in every 3 proposals have been funded. Please be aware projects may not be fully funded, so you may not receive the full amount of your requested dollars. Can Newark Art staff help me with my application? Questions can be submitted via newarkarts.org/artstart/application. Keep in mind, Newark Arts does not review full proposals or provide edits to texts or budgets. I'm not from Newark. Can I still apply for an ArtStart grant? Organizations of artists who are not from Newark who are seeking funding support for programs specifically in service of Newark residents are welcome to apply. As long as your program happens within the city of Newark and benefits its communities, you're eligible for an ArtStart grant. What if only part of my program happens in Newark? Newark Arts only supports projects that happen in Newark. If part of your project occurs outside of the city, you must clearly demonstrate that the grant funds you are requesting are being applied only to the portion happening in Newark. We strongly recommend that proposed projects happen in Newark in their entirety and benefit only Newark and its communities. If I plan to partner with other organizations, should I list them in my proposal? Yes, we encourage collaborations. Local partnerships are integral to the success of any community-based project. You must mention your partners, indicate whether they are confirmed or proposed, and tell us how they will be involved. A letter of support from the executive director is also required. I have a great idea for a project, but nowhere to hold it. What should I do? Applicants must secure space to run their program prior to submitting their proposal. Our panel will be looking at how realistic your program is to implement, based on the details you provide and the program history experience. Projects proposed without a definite space are deemed less realistic. What is the ADA and how does it affect my program? The Americans with Disabilities Act is a civil rights law that prohibits discrimination against individuals with disabilities in all places that are open to the general public. The purpose of the law is to ensure that people with disabilities have the same rights and opportunities as everyone else. This means that your venue should be accessible to people who have mobility impairments, and you should seek to accommodate people who are hearing or visually impaired or have other disabilities by asking them to let you know in advance of special needs. It's advisable to have an organizational ADA plan that describes the accommodations that are currently available and notes those that are being planned for. How should I notify the Newark Arts Council if my email or my mailing address changes after I submit my ArtStart grant application? You may contact us at 973-643-1625 or email me at artstart@newarkarts.org to let us know. Be sure to identify yourself as an ArtStart grantee and provide your contact information, the name of your organization, the old address information, and any updated contact information. Are ArtStart grants transferable? Grant funds are not transferable. Funds may be spent only on those activities specified in the grant application or approved in a project or budget revision. Applicants must submit a written request to Newark Arts prior to implementing any project or budget revisions. If the project cannot, for any reason, be implemented as described, the grant check must be returned to Newark Arts. What happens if part of my proposal falls through after I've been awarded an ArtStart grant? Major changes to your project, such as population served, staffing, funding, timeline, location, partners, must be approved prior to proceeding. You must submit a written request for approval explaining the proposed changes before moving forward with your project. If the alteration to your project changes the initial scope, benefit, impact of your awarded proposal, you may not receive your funding. Will you send us a grantee kit? Resources are available at www.newarkarts.org to help you promote your partnership with us. Recipients of ArtStart grants are provided with all necessary documentation, ArtStart posters and proper logos, as well as instructions for how to properly credit the Newark Arts Council as a funder after the award is given. Organizations receiving support are encouraged to promote receipt of the award through the press and social media. If I'm a first-time applicant, how do I make sure I'm successful? You began that process by coming to our info session. Newark Arts staff strongly recommends that you have someone review your application to check for typos or anything else you may have missed. Did you include all the required attachments? Did you answer each question to the best of your ability? Select a friend or a colleague to check over your application before submitting it. Okay, so if there are any other questions that we did not answer, now would be the time. Let's see. So I see Katie R. to everyone. 2 questions. To clarify, we hit submit to open the application. Oh, is that in the beginning? Cindy, I'm gonna have to ask you because I think I might have to.
Sure thing. Yes, as you land onto the submittable Newark Arts landing page, which you can find at Newark Arts. Oh, 1 second. Which you can find at newarkarts.submittable.com. You hit submit to open the application form, and then the final submit at the bottom of the application is the final submit button that sends in the application to us. So yes, there's 2 submits, one at the beginning to open the form and one at the end to send in the form.
Thank you. Okay. And your second question was, do you distinguish between material and equipment? So if you need a video camera that costs $500, write that in your budget. If that's that would be an expense that would be covered if that's something that's required for your project's completion. And let's see, I'm going to scroll up. The recording will be available, but I don't know exactly how quickly we'll get it up. It'll probably take a couple days for us to turn it around and put it up. Oh, PowerPoint, and the PowerPoint's already available. Oh, I'm reading Cindy's Cindy's thing. And applications, we only allow 1 application per grantee, so per organization or individual. How many grants are typically awarded? There's not an exact number. Last year we awarded 17 grants. And I think it's about that. Some years it's more, some years it's a little less. Are there any other questions that we see that I'm missing? ArtStart projects. Yes, ArtStart projects have to take place in Newark's wards. Yeah, it has to be done in Newark. So no, you cannot do this in another city. And is there still an open question about the memorandum of understanding, or do we understand that? Are there any other questions that I've missed? Okay, if not at this time, I am going to move us forward, and Newark Arts gratefully recognizes the supporters of the ArtStart grant program, without whom we would not be able to offer this wonderful program. So we'd like to thank the Prudential Foundation, New Jersey Arts and Cultural Recovery Fund, Geraldine R. Dodge Foundation, New Jersey State Council on the Arts, the Terrell Fund, Bank of America, M&T Bank, and the TD Bank Charitable Foundation.
Heather, there
Yes.
is another question.
Oh,
Can you offer a virtual program to Newark residents?
so, that's something we've been discussing. So I would say if you have a program that you're promoting, fill out the application, and as long as you meet the criteria and it's promoted towards, especially with COVID, it can be difficult to be in person sometimes. So if you put it forward and you meet our criteria, our panelists will certainly take that into account. So, was there another question, or did that help?
Yes, there's a few more questions in the chat, Heather.
Okay, let's see. I understand that. Okay, not the meaning of MOU. Okay, the memorandum of understanding. So if you're an individual, we need you to partner with an organization who has a tax exempt status. So it could be a church, it could be a school, it could be a nonprofit organization. And so the memorandum of understanding is basically an agreement that you write up between you and that organization. That organization will be your fiscal agent. Newark Arts will write the check to that organization. And then the organizations, sometimes, you know, there's a fee, sometimes there's not. It depends on the criteria you decide with the organization. But the money needs to go to them, and they will in turn give you the money for to help you fund your project. It's a collaboration of sorts. And organization has more than one program, but with different organizations, can they apply more than once in that case? You can you can apply, but if your organization will really only be granted one, so if you're collaborating with other organizations for different projects, I would say if you're partnered with an organization to do a project in the South Ward, and then you partnered with another organization to do a project in the North Ward, rather than having you be the point person on both applications, perhaps maybe one of your partners can, because I haven't seen, and you know, we do say that organizations or people will only receive one grant. So if you're partnering with somebody, but you're working with several projects, I would say have some of the partners apply, if that's the mutual understanding between the groups. And are there other questions? I'm scrolling through this, so I'm hoping that I'm hitting everybody's or in the chat. Oops. Oh, I lost my slideshow. Sorry. Yeah, I don't know. I'm fiscally sponsored. So how do I, do I still need to partner with an additional organization to apply? So we want to see, so that's financially the fiscal sponsors. We also want to see you working with some local organizations on the streets. So if you're doing, you know, a mural project, you know, on a church, I don't know, maybe you could partner with that church, you know, show us some collaborations in the neighborhood where that was a lousy example, I think, but show us some, you know, collaborations with community, and that the community that you're reaching out to, that you're, you know, that you're partnering with. And are there others? And if you have any other questions, please send an email to artstart@newarkarts.org, and we will make all efforts to answer any other questions that come in. So I think at this time we'll say thank you, unless Kimberly Thomas raised her hand. Does she have a question that I missed? Can the project take place in the township of Irvington? I've been told it's a township, so it has to be in one of the 5 wards of Newark. That is the criteria for ArtStart, so it absolutely has to be within Newark, any project. Okay, all right. So thank you for your time. And again, if you have further questions, please email artstart@newarkarts.org, and we will look forward to receiving your proposals.
So yes, thank you one and all. We appreciate you taking the time to be with us this afternoon.